Yeah, 6 to 8. That's good. Yeah. I want you all to think of several different situations. One is a 4-year-old child holding up a beautiful autumn leaf and turning to her dad and say, "Daddy, look at this." Another is a family eating dinner around the dinner table. And a third is you walking by your neighbor's house, your good friend, your neighbor, on a summer evening. I want you to pick your favorite out of the 3 of those scenarios. Okay, now that you have your favorite, split that favorite into 2 other scenarios. Consider one scenario where the individuals in it are on their smartphones, and the other where they're not. And think on that. If you're anything like me, you think that there is at least something lacking, and maybe something wrong in certain circumstances where the individuals are on their smartphones in those scenarios. And now, it may not be exactly easy to cash out what it in fact is, but I think there's something about the human experience where we show love and respect to people when we give them our attention. To think about this, just imagine right now if your favorite president or your favorite activist or your favorite scientist walked in the door right now, and you didn't even like look up to see that they were there. You just completely ignored them. It would seem to me like there's kind of something missing there. It's like there's a respect that we should show to people when we're in their physical presence. So in this speech, I'm going to give just some thoughts of how we can sort of navigate these types of issues. And I want to make a clarification right away. I am not advocating for anyone to smash their smartphone or throw their desktop out the window. Like, I love technology, I use it every day. But what I want to explore is how sometimes these innovations that we've acquired in recent years can be harmful to our relationships. So I think one of the reasons that, like I said, we show people love and respect by giving them our attention. But I think what smartphones can do many times is provide a very easy alternative, something that's very shiny and very easily customizable to our every need and desire. I mean, just think about your smartphone. You probably have your own custom background, your favorite case, your favorite applications. And that's a level of customability that you really can't give to the people in your life, can you? The people in our lives, our loved ones, have their own desires, their own volition, and their own personalities that can't be easily molded to our desires the way our smartphones can. And so I think what this leads to is situations where when we're encountering a difficulty with our familial relationships or our friends, or they're just not entertaining us, it can be really tempting to just pull out our smartphones and give attention to our smartphones, because our smartphones are very entertaining and we've set them up to exactly give us what we want when it comes to entertainment or work or whatever. So far in my speech, I've really just focused on sort of hypothetical scenarios, but let's look at some statistics and see what the statistics say. So Pew Research has done some research on this, and according to a 2019 survey they did, about 4 in 10 Americans are bothered by the amount of time, 4 in 10 partnered Americans, defining as people who are married, living together, etc., are bothered by the amount of time that their significant other spends on their smartphone. Later on in the same survey, it says about half of Americans in a relationship say their partner is distracted by their phone when they're trying to talk to them. So again, this isn't like everybody is having these sorts of problems, but it's a substantial minority of people. And so I think that this to me seems like a problem that we should very seriously consider and take steps in our own lives to make sure that we are not harming our relationships and hurting our loved ones by having our attention sucked away to our smartphones. And so I'm rather cautious about giving solutions because everybody's situation is different and everybody's relationships are different. But I have a couple tentative ideas that you might consider trying in your relationships. So maybe if you live with your family or friends, have certain times of the day, maybe like 30 minutes or half an hour at the end of the day, that are tech-free times, where you put away distractions and focus on the people around you. Maybe you can ask your loved ones and say, if you're married or you live with your family or friends, and ask them, is the way I use my smartphone, does it bother you? Do you feel ignored or not heard or not seen by me by the way I use my smartphone? And I guess the last piece of advice I could say is that I think there's something very powerful and very beautiful about living as physical beings and interacting with people's physical presence. If we think back during the pandemic, anyone who tried to do church or synagogue or mosque or any other organization online versus in person, it can be a lot more difficult and a lot less rewarding. So I just think these are considerations that we need to keep track of and we need to think about and be conscious of while we use our technology. Again, not advocating for smashing our technology, and everyone's situation is different. But I think just we need to focus on loving the people in our lives that we care about and not allowing our smartphones to inhibit us doing that. Thank you very much.